Welcome back to the North Tonawanda Football Hall of Fame YouTube channel. I'm Helinski. Glad you could join us here today. We have a great guest, this one being a 1994 North Tonawanda Football Hall of Fame inductee. Living out in Middleport, New York, one of the greatest backs in North Tonawanda history, where he rushed for over 2,000 career yards, the one and the only Ron Kubas. Ron, good to see you. Good to be with you. Good to finally catch up and meet you. How's things out your way today?
Very good, thank you. And I'm honored for this podcast. This is very exciting.
Let's start from the very beginning. You grew up in NT, but how did you get involved in the athletics as a youth?
Well, over in my neighborhood, it was over on Filner Avenue, and there was a ton of great kids on those streets. The Neffs, the Barretts, Jimmy Doherty, and we always seemed to have enough kids to play football, baseball, hockey, you name it. We played sports 24/7. It was a lot of fun. So that being said, just playing sandlot sports with the guys, and then we started getting into Little League and Little League hockey and stuff.
How about football? Did you play organized football, or were you a sandlot kid?
Oh, no, I played for the Ticats. I was 8 years old, and that's where I got my start. It was a lot of fun. I really had my breakout move probably the first year of the NTAA Loggers when they finally had their merger. I had a great coach named Tom Schmidt, and younger guy, and he made it a lot of fun, and we had a great team and very successful. And I think that's really where I started to take off,
Were you always a running back, even back then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Running back, receiver kind of thing, the speed factor.
Speaking of which, you did have blazing speed. I know as an eighth grader at NT, track-wise, they brought you up from Wrazin and put you on the varsity squad. You were quite the 100-yard man. I think you were running 10-2s at one time.
Yeah, in eighth grade, they didn't tell me anything. I mean, it was a regular day. And then by the end of the afternoon, I got called down to the office, and then they gave me a folder with papers in it, then told me to go down to the nurse's office. And I asked why, and they said, well, we'll tell you when you get there. So when I walked in, Dr. Rezel was in there, when it kind of surprised me. And he said, congratulations. And I go, for what? He goes, you just got called up to the varsity track squad. And I go, wow, when does this start? He goes, you run in 2.5 hours. So they didn't give me much time to prepare. I think they did it for my own good. You get nervous. You're an eighth grader. You're running with the big team. And I think they sprung it on me late just to try to keep me calmed down. But then when that race happened, I was nervous as heck, obviously. So when we lined up, that gun went off. I shot out of the blocks like a scared rabbit, and I ended up running a 10-4 that day. That was my personal best for that year as an eighth grader. And then ninth grade, I did a 10-2. And then in 10th grade, I ran a 10 flat. So that's what I maxed out at, was a 10 flat.
Did you run your junior and senior years?
No, it started not to be a problem, but I had to gain weight for football, lose weight for track. And it was getting to be a little monotonous. So I didn't really. And then Greg Zayitz and Mike Zeromi, they were seniors, and we had a relay team with Bob Bonner, and we were fast. We were very fast. And those guys being 2 years older, it was just kind of different. When they graduated and moved on, I decided pretty much just to concentrate on football. But I'll tell you what, we had a great relay team. That was a lot of fun as well.
In eighth grade, it would have been what, 1977 or 1978 for you?
I think it was 77.
And back then, not many eighth graders got called up to varsity.
No, I don't think so. Not to be honest with you. I was surprised. They had a great team themselves. I'm glad they had room for me. I'll tell you that.
Let's change gears and talk about football. Who were, I know we talked about this earlier, that George Dermisic played a big part in your life. And I assume you had him at Wrazin as probably either a gym teacher and probably your football coach back then, or was it Dave Anastasi?
No, we had George, Coach Dermisic and Mr. Burke. 8th and 9th grade were our coaches. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. Those guys were great. We're going to miss them both, you know that, with George passing. But yeah, that team there, 8th grade, we were pretty rough. Not your traditional Rezo team, I would say. We were losing games, but we were playing hard, you know, and we were getting better. And it got to the point where going into the Payne Rezo game, we had 2 wins and 3 losses going up against a very good Payne team. They were 5-0. And we ended up winning that game 21-20 on a last-minute extra point from Mike Cavacortis, you know, the star of the game, in my opinion. You know, we caught those guys. I don't know if they were reading their press clippings, but on paper, they should have killed us. And we fought hard. And yeah, we stole one from them. And I'm sure they want that back.
Sophomore year, were you surprised that you got called up to varsity?
Yes, but I was talking to A after the Payne Rezo game in 9th grade. And that was a star-studded team. And we were so good. With Dana DiBernardo at quarterback, we ran the wishbone that year, and we were pretty much unstoppable. Not too many freshman teams faced a wishbone offense, you know. So we kind of dominated, and having a quarterback like Dana, I don't know who else really could have pulled it off. I know Coach A wasn't too happy that we ran the wishbone. You know how when a structured organization, the freshmen, JV all do what the varsity does. So George went out on a limb there and did that wishbone, and I'm glad he did. It was a lot of fun. But getting back to the,
do you think that developed you much better so as a running back, running out of the wishbone?
oh yeah. I mean, it's a lot of development, but with all that being said, after that game, Coach A was over there talking to my mother and father, and he asked me to think about the possibility of going out for varsity as a 10th grader. So he gave me the summer to think about it. I wasn't quite sure because the team I was on was so good. They're your friends. And I kind of just pictured all of us moving up together, you know. But I decided to try out for the varsity team, and it was tough. Those guys, that was a great team. You know, 2 platoon, you had an offense, 11 different guys on defense. A lot of skilled athletes on that team, let me tell you. It was so very much a lot of fun.
As a sophomore, were you welcomed with open arms onto the varsity, or did you have to prove yourself, or how did that work?
No, I had to prove myself. They made it tough, you know, but it just makes me tougher. How can I put it? I took some hits, you know, yeah, I had to earn my stripes. I'll put it to you that way. But okay. It was well worth it.
And how much, without knowing the stats in front of me, without having it in front of me, how much did you play as a sophomore?
Oh, I started. So I played pretty much every down on the offense. So I was a regular.
And how were those teams, your sophomore, junior, and senior years, record-wise and talent-wise?
Well, everybody knows about the sophomore year. That's the 79 championship team.
Right.
Fantastic. You know, you got a guy like Frankie Jastrzemski, outstanding. I mean, if you were an opponent and you did not know Frankie's number, you did by the end of the game, because all you heard was the officials all game. Number 51. You can't do that. Number 51. You know, if you know Frankie, he left it all out on the table. And I feel sorry for anybody that had to line up against that guy. Same thing with Mike Hall. That line was fantastic. You know, Steve Rusin, Chris Berkman. You had Don Welchoff, I believe, over at the right tackle. What a great team. Louis Parrish, quarterback. You know, of course, you got Gibby. You know, Gibby got hurt that year. Tom Samborski came in and filled in and did an excellent job. Oh, I wouldn't trade any of those moments. Ed, it was great. It was really good. The junior year, not so good. A lot of expectations because we did have a championship year before, but we also had probably 75% seniors on that team. So the turnover the following year was a big turnover, you know, bunch of great guys though. It was a lot of fun. Our senior year, we were good, you know. Dana again was our quarterback. Rich Wageman, Hall of Famer, left tackle, outstanding. Him and Dave Breyer on that left side, that was my favorite side. I owe a lot to those guys, I'll tell you that.
Your senior year,
Yes.
what was your TNT experience like those 3 years?
79, the championship year, that was, I remember the first play of the game, we did a little, and it wasn't a play that we ran all year. It was a play for that game. Just a quick pitch out or toss pass to the left side. And you seen the wall of my lineman just lining up the block for me. And then I just hit it. I don't know who the heck got me, but someone got me down by like the 15-yard line or something. And yeah, I thought I had it. I didn't. You know, I did end up scoring on that drive, but props to those guys. Tonawanda had a hell of a team that year as well in 1979. They were good.
That's where you had the higher was the quarterback.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
that point.
Kenny Hire, I believe.
Kenny Hire, yes. So that was a good battle of that. How about your junior and senior years? What do you recall from those TNT?
Well, we lost our junior year, and that wasn't good. You know, I knew the weather was pretty bad, I think, then. They came to play, and they beat us. I forget the score offhand. Our senior year, we won. I think that was maybe 18 to 2. I think the score was our senior year. Yeah, I had a good game on that one. That was, if I'm not mistaken, that was the snow game. If I remember. I think it was snowing out pretty good that game.
Weren't you named the MVP of that game as well, too? The North Tonawanda MVP?
Yeah, it was myself, and I believe the gentleman from Tonawanda, Bob Kursitz. And I know the Kursitz, very good athletes over there in Tonawanda. I think he had a couple brothers as well.
I want to talk about Coach Dave Anastasi. What do you recall about Dave Anastasi? And as a coach, what did he mean to you?
Oh, he meant a ton. If you see all those gray hairs, I'm probably responsible for a third of them. You know?
Why is that?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to explain. He kept me in line, or he tried. You know, he did. He went out of his way to make me a better person. I'll tell you that. And I think he did. You know, and I really appreciate him not giving up on me. I'll tell you that.
And as a coach, how would you describe his coaching style?
Old school. You know, 3 yards of cloud of dust. We ran. We had the fullback. We ran off tackle. We swept. I mean, nothing fancy. Traditional NT football. We were going to pound the heck out of you if we could, and if we didn't, we're probably going to lose. But he went right after him.
Who were some of the other coaches on that staff for those 3 years that you were on varsity?
Oh, Johnny C., Mr. DeSera. He was the running backs coach. Mr. Vona, he took care of the defense. Outstanding coach. Smart man. What he did with that defense in 79, I mean, we were tough. You know, beating Orchard Park, that team was star-studded too. I mean, one of the reasons why I think we even won that game is because they brought out our defense first, you know, in the overtime. And they were right. Our defense stopped them and gave us a chance. And Ronnie Hoffman came through like a son of a gun with that kick. He was clutch, always was. You know, Ronnie never took a play off either. I'll say that much about Ron Hoffman.
Coach John Chisera, one of the best backs in NT football history. What did you learn from him?
Well, to try to control my speed. You noticed that I was hitting the hole too fast, not really giving the line a chance to set up, not giving the quarterback enough time to make his moves, his decoys. So what he noticed, he backed me up like an extra yard and a half to make it work a little better, give everybody a little more time before I hit the hole. That's one thing I do notice, because I was getting here too soon and not everything was setting up, and it was just like everybody was kind of bunching up. So with me backing up, it gave me a little more time to see the line, and I thought that was a smart move on his point, moving me back a little bit.
And those 3 years on varsity, were the practices harder than the actual games?
Yeah, because it was old school stuff. We hit, and we had 11 guys on offense and 11 on defense. So almost every day was almost like a scrimmage, and it was not heated, but very competitive, I'll say.
So you had first team against first team.
Yeah, not too many people have that, or not too many teams have that luxury.
During the summertime, did you guys go to camp?
Yeah, and I thought that was my first year, 10th grade. It was fantastic. They took the JV and the varsity. So the first week was everybody, and then the JV went home, and then the varsity stayed for the second week.
That was
out in Dunkirk. We were out in Dunkirk. Yeah, it was very cool. Very cool spot. I liked it. Never did that before.
Was it good for training or good for team bonding, or both?
Both. It got you away from the city. Everybody had their own barracks, we'll call them, so that's where the bonding took part. I was in there. There were big cabins. Some of the seniors were on the other side. You see, you had Mike Hole, Mike Zeromi, maybe Leo Batera, and some of those guys. There was like 8 guys to a side, 16 people to a cabin. And I was with the junior guys, and it was, let me see here. Oh, Shawn Tremble, Donnie Woods, Mike Carr. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of poker playing.
Way back when.
Yeah, and when practice was done, you couldn't do anything. So in our free time, we went to the pool and did some swimming. And then we played some cards, and we were pretty tired. You really didn't want to do anything else. They worked the heck out of you.
Pretty tired and pretty sore at that point too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You don't live in the North Tonawanda or technically the Buffalo area now. You live out in Middleport. When you get out and maybe you have a conversation with somebody about playing football, what do you tell people about playing football at NT, or maybe just growing up in NT? What type of experience it was for you?
Well, not too many people out here know anything about Ron Kubas, the athlete out here. Out here, I'm just Nick, Alyssa, and Joel's dad. And I love that. All 3 of my kids did well in sports, but I don't think anybody's going to know till maybe after this podcast. I never talked about myself like that out here. That's why I'm glad for this moment here and do a little reminiscing with you. It's been a long time since I thought about the old days in NT, I'll tell you.
What did your kids know about your athletic career?
Kind of just what my parents talked about, and when I bring some friends out, just doing some talking like that. But they only found out, I think I was in the hall maybe 10 years ago. I don't know why. I just never came up. I don't talk about myself, so that's kind of where it was. I think they're going to like this podcast, though. It's going to open their eyes a little bit.
You're one of very few NT athletes, NT football players to go over 2,000 yards in a career. What does that mean to you to reach that milestone?
Oh, a ton. Again, that's a tribute to my linemen over the years. I got lucky. I got spoiled with my teams. So, and my coaches, they weren't afraid to give me the ball and let me do my thing, and I really appreciate that. That's it, really. Just thankful, I would say, Ed.
After high school, did you have any aspirations of playing college football, and did you get any offers or any feelers?
Oh yeah, a lot of the Division I schools wanted to see me more at a fullback position, then tailback. And they asked me if I had a problem with that. I said, no, I would definitely play fullback. They also wanted to see me more at defensive back because I didn't mind hitting. I could tackle, but they were basically telling me you're not gonna be a Division I tailback, is what they were kind of telling me. When I was fine with that, I would have played fullback. I always enjoyed playing fullback.
Who were some of those schools that you're referring to?
Well, number one would be Syracuse, Tennessee, big time. I did a little visit down there. I got letters from all of them. I got a handwritten letter from Joe Paterno. I got a handwritten letter from Dick McPherson. A handwritten letter from Bo Schembechler. That meant a lot. They just weren't production letters. These were handwritten. And I thought that was pretty cool.
And after high school, where did you continue with your football career, or
No,
what happened with that?
No, I went down to Tennessee for a cup of coffee. It really didn't work out. So that was it, really. That was the end of it. I had a lot of concussions, and that was starting to. Well, yeah, I just had a lot of concussions. And schools, when they did a background check, I think I was a possible risk, because I had a couple of good ones at the end of my senior year that affected me.
How hard was it for you to take off the helmet and the pads and this fight when all was said and done after you knew that you were done?
Oh, it was tough, but I think it was time. I was getting pretty banged up, like I said. Yeah, it was in my heart. I just didn't have it anymore, so that Tonawanda game was very important to me. Getting the MVP, getting over the 2,000-yard mark, personal goals, I would say. But if I played any longer, I don't know. I just think I would have just been hurting myself maybe more down the road. So I kind of opted out, we'll say,
Do you pay attention to pro football or college football or high school football these days?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all over it. Who isn't a huge Bills fan? I still root for Tennessee. That SEC's tough. So when they come out and have a good year, like last year, I think they did quite well. They beat Alabama. I mean, that doesn't happen often. And of course, I always keep up on the NT team. I haven't been to the new facility probably in 15 years, though. I heard it looks great.
It is a nice facility. There's no doubt about that. What do you recall about playing at the old Vetter Stadium?
Love Vetter Stadium. Just love it. Still don't know why. I know the new facility is great. I personally fell in love with Vetter since I was a Tie-Cat. The field was always in fantastic shape. The crown was legendary. It was almost like a college atmosphere. I mean, the stone bleachers, I don't know. They don't make them like that no more. Probably why they shut it down. But it was a great complex. And I seen that they finally took down the goalposts, after how many years now? I mean,
Well, those goalposts went up in 1990. They got rid of when you played the old H format ones. So they went to the pro style one, and that was stood up there until 2 weeks ago. So I mean, with the building being sold and either we took down the goalposts or they're going to be taken down, by somebody else. So why not?
no, great decision on what you guys did. Great decision.
We've talked about several things here during this conversation. What would you like to talk about that I haven't brought up?
Let me see. Well, some of the coaches. I mean, that was key. Losing George and Mr. Burke. You're right. They were both my gym teachers in junior high school, and they were just a riot to be around. They were great mentors. The teams were fantastic. Coach A, I can't say enough about him. I mean, coaching, it's more than just coaching football. You know, you're coaching young men, different backgrounds, different dreams ahead, you know, and to stay in front of that and all the different guys and trying to help certain individuals with their goals. Very admirable, you know, and that goes to like Mr. Vona, and you got Murph and Jagger were on there too. Great guys. Always look up to those guys. They always had a second to help you out, you know, be in football or life situations. I mean, you got to admire people like that. You know, you really do.
What do you tell today's athletes, today's football players, especially the ones in the NT program? They haven't enjoyed a lot of success recently, but you know, what words of advice do you give them to give them hope and point them in the right direction?
Well, number one, never give up. I mean, I played on some great teams. I played on some bad teams. Do the work. Do the work. You know, you got to work out. You got to train. Go through the playbook. Do it with your teammates. You know, we used to have a bunch of guys come over to Bob Shabetta's house when we were in junior high school, and then even in high school, on our own, and just work out. You know, and then we throw the baseball around or go for a swim. You know, just a camaraderie. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to lay it down for some other guy, that guy's hopefully going to lay it down for you. And if you get that type of mentality on your team, playing together and fighting for each other, win or lose, that's what you got. That's what starts. You know, get that bond going, get the camaraderie, get some more people out. Talk to your friends. We had probably 100 people try out for our team. And I don't know, out here in Middleport, Royhart area, we have to go to 2 other schools to get enough people to form a team. You know, and I see NT doesn't have 80 people trying out for the team. You know, they probably only have 40 now. You know, people just don't really play that much football like they did.
Would you do anything differently about your high school career and your high school experience?
Oh yeah, I made mistakes, but how can I put it? Yeah, I mean, take it more seriously. I should have. It's not that I didn't take it seriously, but after a while, it just got to be a lot of pressure and stuff like that. I don't know, hard to put into words. I'm at a loss for words here for a second, Ed.
It's okay, take your time.
Well, no, I mean, I like what I did. I mean, I was dedicated. I think it was just tough with all the sports. Maybe if anything I did different, it was maybe just cut it down to 2 sports instead of 3. You know, put more dedication into my football and track, I would say. You know, but I don't have any regrets, you know, doing things differently. I think I did, you know, with the coaches and everything, you were told what to do and you did it. You know, I don't know, hard to explain.
No, that's okay. We'll go to another subject. In terms of you're one of NT's greatest running backs, how would you like to be remembered as an NT athlete?
Wow, that's a good question. I never thought of something like that. As a team player, you know, I really never put myself before the team. I'm more of a we guy than an I guy. That's it, really. Drawing blanks here, Ed. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, I might have caught you off guard on that one a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
I appreciate that. You drive quite a bit to work every day. You work at Republic Steel. You've got that, what is it, 50.2 miles one-way trip, and then on the way back. I like to call it windshield time. Do you ever reflect on what you did in high school or thought about, you know, all the accomplishments you did, and what kind of thoughts go through your head?
Well, I did quite a bit, and I'm proud of myself. You know, I started, like you say, as an 8th grader on the varsity track. 9th grade, I made it to the varsity hockey team. 10th grade, I was on varsity football. So yeah, I'm very proud of what I did, you know, with my parents helping me all the way. It's probably, yeah, I'm not saying people haven't done it. I'm not sure how many people have done it since, you know, with the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, you know, I was a pretty young dude playing varsity sports. And I look back at that and I'm proud of myself. It was hard, you know, but I loved every minute of it. I really did.
Ron Kubas, this has been a lot of fun. I want to thank you so much for joining me here today. Continued success, continued good health. I wish you well, and thank you.
Ed, I'm honored and thank you so much for this opportunity. This has been great. Thank you so much.